Trump Talk Now from the Double Barrel Bar and Grill at Volusia Top Gun. Here's your host, Vic Baker.
Greetings, fellow American Patriot TRUMPUBLICANS, and welcome to Trump Talk Now, the home of fearless truth-telling about our transformational President Donald Trump and his ongoing mission to make America great again. Our show is brought to you locally by Volusia Top Gun in Daytona Beach, Florida, where we're live streaming on Facebook in front of an audience of Patriot TRUMPUBLICANS. Breaking news, I'm sad to tell you, President Donald Trump has just canceled the Jacksonville portion of the Republican National Convention in Jacksonville. He made the following statement during a White House briefing just a short time ago. In quote, "I have to protect the American people. That's what I'm about. There's nothing more important in this country than keeping the people safe. So I told my team it's time to cancel the Jacksonville portion as it was planned. I'm particularly disappointed. I was going to bring you this show from the convention. I just got credentialed with the Secret Service this week. I'm an alternate delegate to the convention. That's not going to happen. I'm sure they're going to do something else, but I don't know what it is yet. Stay tuned." I'm sorry to have to share that news with you. Well, it's official. We're now living in the disunited States of Bizarro-land. On the 56th night of rioting in Portland, wacky Mayor Ted Wheeler joined the mob and wound up getting heckled by the anarchists and tear gassed by the feds. This mayor is actually siding with the lawless forces of chaos, mayhem, and destruction. He's blaming President Trump for the riots. Now, where do these morons come from? You are the mayor of Portland. You took an oath to uphold the law. What law justifies 2 months of absolute pandemonium at the ruthless hands of a completely lawless mobocracy? President Trump swore an oath to preserve, protect, and defend the Constitution of the United States. He is required by the Constitution to take care that the laws be faithfully executed. Last time I checked, the destruction of a federal courthouse is not a lawful activity. Yet the masochistic mayor of Portland seeks to blame the president for sending in federal officers to protect federal property. It's your property. You paid for it. The city of Chicago is drowning in blood. The level of violence is absolute insanity. 15 people were shot up at a recent funeral for another casualty of a previous Chicago shooting. Let me remind you that Chicago has some of the toughest gun control laws in America. How's that working out for you? Poet Robert Frost's city of broad shoulders is no longer the Windy City, it's now the Slaughter City. In the midst of all this mayhem, Mayor Lightfoot told President Trump the feds are not welcome in Chicago. But reality is setting in even for the lightheaded lefty like Lightfoot. She's finally surrendered to the inevitable reality by agreeing to cooperate with President Trump's plan to send in 200 federal agents to combat a rampage of violence. But following President Trump's announcement, Mayor Lori Lightfoot called on the people of Chicago to snitch on the FBI, ATF, DEA, and U.S. Marshals Service who are coming to Chicago to drive down the crime. I don't get these people. President Trump is launching a multi-agency law enforcement surge to rein in the violence and lawlessness on the streets of America's urban battleground cities. Operation Legend is named after Legend Telefero, a 4-year-old boy who was shot to death while he slept in Kansas City. Trump is deploying an army of law enforcement feds to Chicago, Albuquerque, Portland, and other Democrat hellholes. The FBI, DEA, ATF, Marshals, and Homeland Security will employ the full force of federal law to arrest and prosecute violent felons and take them off the streets once and for all. Last week, heavily armed federal officers began rounding up some of these masked thugs and taking them away in unmarked vans. Somehow the lefties see that as lawless instead of the mayhem we're witnessing in America's citizens. Federal teams will work with local and state law enforcement to focus on gangs, guns, and drugs. Now here's a message for all you violent thugs. If you try to take down Uncle Sam, you'll soon find yourself checking in at one of his fine iron bar hotels. New York's clueless, towering pile of incompetence, Bolshevik Bill de Blasio, has been threatening to sue the Department of Justice to stop federal intervention in his city, which has seen a 200% increase in crime in the past year. This is the same mayor who's deployed 24 NYPD cops to protect his precious arts and crafts project, the Black Lives Matter graffiti on posh Fifth Avenue in front of Trump Tower. 24 cops doing that instead of protecting people. This is the same mayor who goes to the gym while telling New Yorkers they can't. This is the same mayor who undermines the very same police who protect his pathetic person every day and night, while he fails to protect New Yorkers and their businesses from looters, rioters, and common criminals. This is the same mayor who threatens to close churches and synagogues over COVID, but does nothing to curb mass riots and demonstrations. I have to tell you, the American people are fed up to here with these loony lefty mayors and their reckless disregard for reality. Democrat cities are being ransacked and left in ruins. This is our future unless we stop it now. It's not just the mayors. We have some prosecutors in America who are turning the laws upside down, treating criminals like victims and vice versa. As I said, Bizarro-land. Case in point, the radical leftist prosecutor who charged St. Louis lawyers Mark and Patricia McCloskey with felonies for holding guns to protect their home from a threatening mob. St. Louis Circuit Attorney Kimberly Gardner charged the McCloskeys with felony unlawful use of a weapon for displaying guns in their yard as protesters moved through the central west end of St. Louis toward the mayor's house. But Missouri's Attorney General Eric Schmidt has filed a motion in court to dismiss the charges under the state's Castle Doctrine. That's like Florida's Stand Your Ground law, which gives Missourians broad rights to use arms to defend their property. We've also learned that Patricia McCloskey's gun was not even working. It wasn't operable before a staffer in the prosecutor's office had the crime lab tamper with the evidence to make it functionable. Folks, if an angry mob comes to threaten you at your home, what are you going to do? You going to call the police, point your smartphone at them, or are you going to pull out your weapon and stop them at the door? We'll be discussing this critical Second Amendment issue with George Burden just a little bit later. Another battle is still underway, the battle to reopen America and revive the economy amidst a torrent of terrifying headlines spewed up by the rabid media bent on taking down Trump. They tell you Florida is the new epicenter of the Wuhan virus, citing record case numbers. They don't tell you that more than 48 million tests have been conducted in the U.S., and at least half of the results are suspect. They're cooking the books, folks. These tests are about as reliable as a Florida hurricane spaghetti model. And you know what those are like. I've recently had occasion to hear private opinions from local doctors and nurses. They're saying the numbers are vastly inflated. They also say the numbers of hospitalizations are being inflated. Governor DeSantis is investigating credible reports from Floridians who say they got positive COVID results even though they never got a test. How does that happen? These same medical practitioners will freely tell you privately that the masks are not very effective and that sanitation and social distancing is more important. Yet many local retail chains have bought into the mask mandate. I predict many of us will change our buying habits accordingly. I'll also point out something that may surprise you. Look it up. You can go online and see it. Florida statutes 187.15 say the following. No person or persons over 16 years of age shall, while wearing any mask, hood, device whereby any portion of the face is so hidden, concealed or covered as to conceal the identity of the wearer, enter upon or appear upon any lane, walk, alley, street, road, highway, or other public way in this state. The same prohibition of law applies to public buildings or the private property of others. I've been told that this law has been applied to criminal activity in the past, but it certainly caught my notice, and I didn't say anything exempting it for that. It certainly will give a masked bandit the element of surprise, since he or she won't stand out in a crowd anymore. We're all wearing masks, after all. President Trump has resumed daily Wuhan virus updates, recognizing that Americans are fearful, but we cannot live in fear. We are a country that has always thrived on optimism, confidence that the best is yet to come. So we will not shut down America again. We will reopen schools because our kids will be safer and parents need to go back to work. We will see an end to this. The U.S. government has already ordered millions of doses of a new Wuhan virus vaccine developed by Pfizer that may be in use by October. The vaccines could be available by then. Therapies are proving effective, so don't let the media drive you to panic. The president is doing whatever is necessary to put an end to this Wuhan virus nightmare. He's also lowering the boom on the source of the virus, China. The U.S. has ordered the closing of the Chinese consulate in Houston, suspecting espionage activity against American technology and commerce. In fact, the State Department says it was a beehive of espionage. The Chinese set their documents on fire, all their classified documents. Wonder why that is. Last time we saw a foreign diplomatic outpost burn its documents was December 7th, 1941. And the arsonists on that day of infamy were Japanese. Also, please keep in mind, the Durham grand jury is hard at work. Attorney General Barr says he fully expects to see something happen by the end of this summer. We can hardly wait. Joe Biden is still sprouting gibberish from his Wilmington, Delaware basement, where campaign staffers pull the plug on interviews a moment a reporter asks a tough question about China or anything else. Can you imagine hiding Biden on a debate stage with President Trump? Neither can I, but we can all dream, can't we? The president today has a 49% approval rating in the Rasmussen poll. And other polls are showing in battleground states that the president is actually leading. Although I'm not sure about any of these polls right now. There's one in November that's going to be important. On a personal note, I'm bumping into Democrats who quietly tell me they're fed up with the chaos and they're voting for Trump. I still sense a Trump landslide coming. Now, I told you I'm an alternate delegate to the Republican National Convention, which that and $2 will get me a cup of coffee, because there's not going to be one. Biden's convention expects to have 350 or so folks, and I'm not sure they're going to have that. So we fully expected them to have a convention in Florida. We don't expect to have one now. But we do expect Donald Trump to win. And I'm going to ask you all, everyone out there watching within the sound of my voice, here in this room and across the internet, across the ether, you have to do everything you can to see that he gets 4 more years to finish the job of making America safe again, making America prosperous again, making America proud again, and making America great again.